Morning, all. Today we will continue
Good
with
morning, ma'am.
the next topics of our inheritance and the polymorphism. We have already gone through the inheritance and its basics and its types. Next, the part that we have started with the polymorphism. Whether screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So in a previous lecture, we have started with the polymorphism, where how the polymorphism is achieved in C++. So it has basically two types. One is a compile time, and the second one is the runtime polymorphism. In compile time, we have seen there are two types. That is, the one is operator overloading, and second one is a function overloading. Operator overloading means assigning a new meaning to the existing operator, and function overloading means using the same name for different functions whose return type as well as the number of arguments will be different. This is a runtime. This is a compile time polymorphism. So at a compile time, it will decide which function will be executed. In runtime polymorphism, this is achieved with the help of the virtual functions. So where it will decide which function will be executed at a compile time. Okay, so whenever we create an object at a runtime, at that time it will decide. So what is that virtual function? We have already seen the how to create a pointers to an object. So in this lecture, we will again extend this concept of the pointers to the virtual functions also. So basically, what is the virtual functions in C++ that we have to understand first. So it plays an important role in achieving the runtime polymorphism. Okay, then it is a function. Virtual function is nothing but a member function of a base class. Okay, it is a member function, means it belongs to a specific class. Which class? That is a base class that you redefine in the derived class. So it is a member virtual function. It is a member function of the base class, and that same function we redefine into the derived class. Okay, so these functions we call it as a virtual functions, and the property of redefining a member function declared in the base class to a derived class is also called as a function overriding. This is important concept. Function overloading and function overriding. Okay, both are different things. Function overloading means we have seen that we can write two different functions having the same name. Suppose I am writing a function add void add with having a no any parameter, and I am writing us another function which is int add. Okay, int add, and it is taking a two parameters, suppose int a comma int b. So what is the difference in these two functions? What is the difference in these two functions? That here in the first function the return type is void, and in second function the return type is integer. Okay, what is the similarity here in these two functions? Only the name is same. Okay, again if you check the parameter, the first add function is not having any parameter, second add function is taking a two different parameters, right? Int a comma int b. This is the function overloading, and where both of these function will belongs to a same class. Okay, these two will be present into the same class. This is a function overloading. And what do you mean by the function overriding? Function overriding means, suppose you will have a class A. Okay, suppose you are having a class A. In this class A, you are defining one function. Okay, you are defining one function. Suppose the same function I am taking void add. Okay, and in derived class you are redefining it again. Okay, in a derived class you are redefining it again, means suppose I am having another class B, which is inherited from class A. Okay, class B which is inherited from class A. How to write this in the form of a code? How to show this inheritance where B is derived version of class A? Yes, anyone? Class B, then how can you understand that B is a derived class of A if A is the base class and B is the derived class? How to write it in terms of its code? How is the syntax of inheritance? Class B, which is a new class, and if you have to inherit it from the class A, then there will be a colon and you give a visibility mode, that is, suppose it can be public, private and protected. Suppose I am inheriting it publicly, so public A. So what is this? This is A is the base class and B will be a derived class. So in function overriding, what you are doing, you are redefining the same function. Here signature of the function will remain same, or prototype will remain same. So void add, where you are redefining it again in a derived class. This can be the end of the, here semicolon is there, end of the class. Okay, so this is the concept of function overriding, where both of the function will have a same signature and both will reside in a two different classes. Where in two different classes. So sometimes when a base class doesn't need to write the implementation details, at that time you can make it as a virtual function and that will be redefined into its derived class. Okay, we will see again its applicability. What is its real-time use? So here in this case of the virtual function, a base class pointer has the capability to point to the objects of the base class and the derived class. The very important thing is the base class pointer will be used to invoke these functions from the base class as well as the derived class. We'll see this with the help of examples. Now, in what cases we use these virtual functions? Okay, whenever we want to override a certain behavior for your derived class rather than one implemented for the base class. Okay, so here you can see the one class is there, shape. Okay, shape is a one class, and from that shape we are deriving four different classes. Okay, so one shape can be a line, triangle, rectangle and a circle. So what are these? These are the derived classes of the shape. Okay, understand this with the example. So all are the derived classes of a shape class, which is a base class. Now this shape class has a draw function. Okay, shape class has a draw function and it will be inherited in its derived class too. So line will have a draw, triangle, rectangle, circle will also have a draw function. So what can be this? What we can do in this shape class, there is no need to write the implementation details for this draw. The line, the draw function in the line will draw the line in its respective. This will have a different definition. This will draw a triangle, this will draw a rectangle, and this will draw a circle. So we can have this four different versions of a draw, which is the inherited from your shape, and these will have its own implementation detail other than this draw. Okay, so in this case you can declare this draw as a virtual in case of the shape class. Okay, now what are the rules for this virtual function? Which functions, how to declare this function as a virtual, and what are the different rules that are applicable for this virtual functions. So as we have already specified the member function to be a virtual function in the base class with the help of a keyword virtual. Okay, with the help of a keyword virtual. So if you are writing, if you have to make this void function, void add function as a virtual, so what you need to do, you need to simply put the keyword virtual before the function signature. Okay, so virtual void add, and this keyword you have to attach into the add version of a base class. Understand this? Okay, so this virtual keyword you can attach to the function in the base class. Okay, so we need not again specify it while defining it in the derived class. You will attach a keyword virtual in the base class but not in the derived class because you are redefining it. Okay, you are redefining it into the derived class. Next thing, a member function of the base class cannot be virtual function and friend function simultaneously. Means if you are making any function as a virtual, then it cannot be a friend function simultaneously at the same time. Either it can be virtual or friend. Fine. A member function of the base class cannot be virtual with a keyword static. Again, same thing, means you cannot use virtual and friend simultaneously. Similarly, you cannot use virtual and static simultaneously. Okay, we can access virtual functions only with the help of a pointer or a reference. This is important. Means if you have to invoke a virtual function, it can be done with the help of a pointer only. Okay, pointer or the references. References, we use another name for the same objects. Okay. Then the basic model of the virtual function, the base class, should be similar while redefining it in the derived class. That is, the signature should remain same. If you are writing void add in the base class, you must write void add into the derived class. If you are changing the signature in the base class, suppose to int add in bracket int a comma int b, then the same signature must be there into the derived class. Okay, so that basic model should remain same. It is not necessary to redefine the virtual function in the derived class. Okay, redefine. If the virtual function is not overridden, then we can use the original function declared or defined in the base class. Means if the virtual function is not overridden, means if you have not redefined it, then you can use the original function declared or defined in the same base class. Okay, it is not possible to introduce a virtual constructor inside the class, although it is possible to introduce a virtual destructor. Means constructors cannot be virtual into the base class, but you can have a virtual destructors. Okay, these are the rules related with the defining any function as a virtual. Okay, so just take an example of this. Suppose we have a base class here in which we are making one print function as a virtual by attaching a keyword virtual, right? So here is some only single line is written, cout base function. Okay, here it is the end of the base class. Okay, end of the base class. Then we are writing a new class which is a derived one from this base class. Okay, class derived colon public base. Okay, then again you are writing here void print. So this is your derived function. Definition will be different. So what you are doing here, we are overriding a print function of its base class. Okay, we are overriding. So in this case now, two print functions are there. Now which function will be executed, that will be decided at its runtime and with the help of the pointer that we are using. Now let's see what is written in the main. Now main function we are writing where we are creating the objects as well as the pointers to the objects, and we are invoking the print function of this base and the derived. Now how to invoke this, that we will see. Can check derived one. So what we are doing here, derived one means here derived one, it is an object, right? It is an object of a derived class. As we have seen in case of the inheritance, that with the help of the object of the derived class, you can invoke the functions of the base class too, right? Functions of the base class too. Next, now the first thing, we have created an object of the base class, derived class. In second line, what we are doing? Yes, anyone? In second line, what we are doing? Base star base 1. So what is this only thing? Base star base 1.
Point.
Yes, it is a pointer. Star mark is there, means definitely it is not your normal variable. it is an pointer variable. Okay. Now, what is the return? What is the data type of this pointer? The data type is of a base. Okay. So this is a pointer to an object equals to and derived one. Okay. Equals to and derived one. So we are assigning the base derived class and object to that particular base one pointer. Okay. Base one pointer. So if you're writing this base one, then arrow mark and print. Okay, base one, arrow mark and the print. So what is this? This is the way with which you are calling a print function. Okay, now we know that we always call like complex C1, C1 dot add, C1 dot display, C1 dot subtract. So what we are doing, we are using an object, right? We are using an object, then dot operator and then name of the function, right? Dot operator and the name of the function. But here instead of dot, we are using an arrow, right? We are using an arrow. Why? Because in this first case, on the left hand side of the dot, it was an object of the class. Okay. And on right hand side, that is the name of the function. And whenever you are using an arrow, it means that on the left hand side, it is nothing but a pointer. Okay. It is nothing but a pointer. And on the right hand side, this is nothing but a function. So here we are invoking a function using the pointer. So at that time there will be an arrow, and the same thing you have seen in case of the C also. We have seen such cases in case of the linked list where we are using the pointers to access your data at the link field of those particular nodes. Okay, so here it is calling a member function of the derived class using the base class pointer. Using the base class pointer. What if I want to invoke this print function? Yes. What if I want to invoke this print function? So what you need exactly for that? You need to assign that pointer variable to the base class object. So you can call this print version of the base class. Okay. So in this particular example, you are not able to invoke this print function. You are overriding it. You're overriding it in the derived class, and you are executing this derived version of your print function. Okay, we will see more examples based on this. Let's see. Here one example is shown. Similar kind. What is done here? Well, we have defining one class. We are defining one class A. Okay, in class A, which are the different things we are defining? String data equals to in double quotes data. So what we are doing here, what is this string data? Yes. What is the string data?
Data member of type string.
Data member of type string which belongs to class A, which is a public by default. Am I right?
Private.
Yes, it is a private because nothing is mentioned before the string data. So this data, it is then private member of a class A. Then under public section, we are defining a display function which is a virtual. Okay, which is a virtual means we are redefining. What does this keyword tells us about? It tells us that this display function will be overridden by its derived class. Okay, so here in definition, simply we have printed the data, which is nothing but the data member of that class A. Second class, we are defining class B, which is of a public, which is inherited from class A. Here again, we are defining one private member of a private data member of class B, which is a PCCUER. Again, we are defining a same function display, which is a virtual in its base class. Okay, so here simply we are printing the value of that particular string. Okay, now what we are doing here in int main. Now A star A. What is this? A, capital A star small a. What we are doing? What is the meaning of this statement?
It is a pointer of
Yes,
class
Pointer of
A.
class
A.
A.
Yes, simply we are creating a pointer for class A. Okay. Then second, capital B small b. What is this? Capital B small b.
Object.
Yes, simply this is an
Class B.
object of the class B. Third line, A equals to address of B. What we are assigning to a pointer A? We are assigning the address of the derived object to
Object.
class to the pointer A. And now here A arrow display. Okay. Now with the help of this, which display function will be executed? Which display function will be executed?
Class B. Class B.
Of
Kids.
class
Class
B.
A or class B? Class B, right?
Class
So
B.
what must be, so what should be the output in this case whenever you will execute it? The data is data or the data is PCCR. What will be the output?
The data is PCCOR.
Okay, fine, let's see. The data is PCCR. So here what we are doing, we are invoking a display function of a class B. Now here we have declared it in virtual, means we are going to override it in a class B. Okay, we are going to override it in a